of the Texans is worrisome, and the Texans and the Titans have gotten better too. To me, I think this year you're going to see the Steelers make one last run at it. I think the same with the Patriots, at least with Tom Brady at quarterback. But I can't believe I'm saying it, but I like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really like that football team. I think there's still a little bit of question with Blake Bortles at quarterback, but I like that Jacksonville football team. I think it's going to be very tough for the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC this year. I look for the Raiders probably to bounce back, I would think, this year, at least a little bit, even with the new head coach and new coaching regime there. I think that they've got to rebound. They've got too many talented players on that team. But I like the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC.
Well, and a lot of people do it, and this also might be the year of the Titans. We'll see what happens there. So let's go on over to you again, Ed. The Houston Texans. A lot of people are liking what they've done. I've not seen anything lower than an A for their grade. Of course, that really doesn't mean anything at this point because they've not done anything on the field yet. But what are your thoughts, Houston Texans, day 1 and 2?
Yeah, that's going to be a really tough division, I think. That AFC South, that Mike Mo said, the Jags, they're the team right now, I think, that's going to kind of be, they made the playoffs last year, but they're definitely a team on the rise. And then the Texans, they did a great job in the draft so far, and then you throw in the fact that Deshaun Watson's going to be coming back from that knee injury. We'll see if, how long it takes him to kind of recover from that, as we will see how long it'll take Carson Wentz in Philly to come back from his knee injury. But when you factor in Deshaun Watson on that team, I think he's a better quarterback than Blake Bortles. And, the Texans could be that team. And then the Titans are coming in off a playoff season. Mariota another year at the helm. That's going to be a really dogfight, that division. I mean, those three teams to me are going to be three of the better teams in the AFC. And the Texans certainly did themselves a big favor by having a pretty nice draft so far, But like you said, we haven't seen them do anything. We did see Watson last year do some terrific things before the injury, and that's kind of what excites me the most about that team is seeing how Deshaun Watson continues to develop.
Rick, when was the last time we could say that the AFC South was going to be a strong division? So let's stay on that. The Texans, the Titans, the Jaguars. Of course, we got the Colts rebuilding. They're in a rebuild year. Not a lot to expect from the Colts, even though as fans and as homers we'd like to see a lot. I think we'll just be happy to see Andrew Luck play a full season. What are your thoughts on the AFC South and the overall draft over the last couple of days, Rick, with the AFC South?
I would say, Andrew Luck comes back. He's healthy. He can full season. And the process that Frank Reich is building and the team he's building, the process he's installing there, give the Colts about 2 seasons, and we'll be talking about them in the exact same way we're talking about the rest of the division. It's probably going to be the new black and blue division. I'm a NFC North fan, but that is a really tough division right now. And you let the Frank Reich put his touches on that team and give him 2 seasons, and we'll be talking about the Colts in the exact same way.
Mo, I know you've got a remote that you've got to get to, so we want to make sure that we get everything in. But when we look across the NFL as a whole, we saw a great Philadelphia Eagles team last year and Carson Wentz. As we look across the landscape of the NFL, we're seeing a lot of changes. Talk with us a little bit about what you think we can see, and maybe some of the things that this draft is going to really. There's a lot of plug-and-play players this year. This was a very strong draft. Maybe I'm wrong, but this was the first time when I saw so many quarterbacks available, and really teams kind of say, no, we're good on quarterback. We're going to go a different direction. So what are your thoughts, Mo? Go ahead.
Well, I think that the Eagles are going to be tremendous again this year, whether they start the season with or without Carson Wentz, because I think Nick Foles has proved to play very well in that city and in that system. The real concern for the Eagles for me this year would be this will be a year of reemergence for the New York Football Giants, adding Saquon Barkley, adding Nate Soldier, the return of Odell Beckham Jr., the return of healthy wideouts. And I think this defense has got to play better this year, obviously, than it did last year. So I think the New York Football Giants will see a resurgence. They're one of the teams that said no to a quarterback. The Denver Broncos adding Bradley Chubb along with Von Miller on that defense and a great defensive backfield, I think will help with Case Keenum there an actual serviceable quarterback there in Denver, adding the wide receiver in the draft, who's a tall, lanky kid who can go get the football, adding some youth to those wide receiver depths. I think Denver you'll see a reemergence of again this year as well. But I think those are the two big teams that passed early on quarterbacks that could have taken quarterbacks that I think you'll see a resurgence from this year.
Mo, do you got to go, or can you hang around a little bit longer? Or
yeah, I got about 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll go on over to Ed. Ed, let's take a look at this NFC, and obviously we're going to talk about your next favorite team, and that's the Dallas Cowboys, if you will. They picked up linebacker out of Boise State in the 19 overall. They got an offensive guard, Connor Williams. They picked up a guy from Colorado State, wide receiver Michael Gallup, number 81 overall. Really, overall grade, people are giving the Cowboys an A.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I know they probably would have taken Dallas Goedert, the tight end, that the Eagles jumped ahead of him to grab. I mean, Jason Witten caught him off guard with that surprise announcement to retire, to head into the ESPN Monday night booth, I think it is. So, they were looking tight end. Dallas Goedert even said on a conference call last night after he was picked by the Eagles that he thought he was headed to Dallas. He's named Dallas because his father is a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. His stepdad is a Packers fan. So now he's an Eagle. But, the Cowboys, I mean, I don't know. I like Mo's thought on the Giants as far as them having a resurgence. I picked the Giants actually last year to win the NFC East, and then the wheels just came off. And my only question is with a 37-year-old quarterback, not everybody can beat Tom Brady and be successful until you're 40. So at some point you wonder when will the wheels come off from Eli Manning. And then to me, Odell Beckham, I'm not a big fan of a guy that creates headaches in division in a locker room, and I think that Odell Beckham does that. I'm not sure the Giants will ever be that team with that type of player on the roster, especially seeing how cohesive the Eagles roster was last year and the culture that they built and how much of a factor that was in them winning the Super Bowl. I have my doubts, when you have a player that's that divisive. But, the Cowboys, to me, I don't know. They haven't really done anything to help Dak Prescott. Michael Gallup, yeah, okay. I don't know. Maybe he'll be good. We'll see. I don't know why they needed another guard in Connor Williams. Again, I think the Eagles caught them a little flat-footed there by taking Goedert one spot before they picked, so they kind of went with Connor Williams. I'm not even sure Connor Williams will be as good as he was 2 years ago in Texas. He didn't have a good season in 2017. So, I don't know. Leighton Vander Esch, yeah, he's a good pick at linebacker. But, he played 8-on-8 football growing up in Idaho, I think it was. I know he was great at Boise State, but, I have some questions about him. So we'll see how it works out for the Cowboys. To me, I'm not sure they're not the worst team in the NFC East at this point. I like what the Redskins did. I think they'll be a factor. And then, again, with the Giants, I have some big questions. I think it's going to be the Eagles and Redskins in that division kind of battling it out.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people like what the Redskins did. Mo, we'll get with you for one final thought, if you will, before you have to go. You sit smack dab in the middle of two TV markets, the Browns and the Bears. A lot of people are liking what the Bears are doing. I personally can't stand the Bears. I'm just saying, nothing against them. Just I don't like the Bears. But nonetheless, in your neck of the woods, a lot of people like the Bears. What are they saying?
Well, I think the biggest pickup for the Bears, regardless of, I like the linebacker out of Georgia. I think the biggest pickup for the Bears, honestly, in this area is their new offensive line coach. Their new offensive line coach who's done so much work at Notre Dame, cranking out All-Americans. So, to me, that's the biggest pickup, regardless of what the Bears do in the draft. But I think they've had a good draft. I think people are excited and nervous to see what Mitchell Trubisky brings this year to the Bears on the offensive side. So, I think there is some excitement, but people aren't overestimating that the Bears are a playoff team by any stretch yet.
Okay, Mo, where can people find your work and your masterpieces at, sir?
Normally in a gas station bathroom wall or on Twitter at Mo Radio.
All right, buddy. You have yourself a good weekend. Have yourself a good remote.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks. Mo for the BS Sports Show couldn't join us as long as he wanted to because of his obligations. We'll go back to you, Ed, let's talk a little bit about the Chicago Bears. A lot of people are liking what they've done, and as Mo just said, they're not a playoff team yet, but they're certainly putting some pieces in place. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, they are. But maybe they rise quicker than you think. I mean, I go back to last year when nobody really had the Eagles pegged to do much at all. So, we saw what happened. Could the Bears be that team? I mean, there's going to be a surprise team or two that's out there, and kind of like the Eagles were last year. So, maybe the Bears can surprise. It's a tough division, though, that they're in, obviously, with the Vikings coming off an NFC championship year and getting Dalvin Cook back as a runner and, having a new quarterback in Cousins. I mean, to me, the Vikings are the cream of the crop in that division, if not the entire NFC. I like what the Bears have done, no doubt. I like the fact they added Trey Burton, the Eagles tight end. I mean, Burton's ready to step up and be the number one tight end, and I think he'll be a factor in the pass game with Trubisky. So, I like what the Bears are doing. They still have some work to do, but could they surprise some teams and maybe push to be a 500 team? I think they can. This is going to be Trubisky's third year, so it's time to step up now for him, and I think he will. I like Trubisky. I think the Bears could be a factor in that division. Of course, then there's Rick's Lions. Where are they going to factor in, Rick? What are they going to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they have the best receiving core in that division as of right now. The Golden Tate, and Marvis Jones Jr., and T.J. Jones, solid receiving core. I think it's probably the best receiving core in that division, and pretty good quarterback too.
Here's the thing, what I've seen over the last couple of days with the Detroit Lions, Rick, I have them on my list here to go to in the first place. Let's say a roller coaster. Go up, great, first day A, and they drop to the bottom in the second one, and then they started to go back up again. So you had a roller coaster of a ride over the last 3 days. I think they got a little bit stronger in the middle by picking Ragnu, but your first day, round one, great. Round two, you hit the bottom. It looks like you guys are on the trend to go back up, but certainly overall, you guys get a C for a grade.
Well, I'll just leave, first-time head coach Matt Patricia. I'll just leave that process to him. Obviously, taking Frank Ragnow, number one, he's focused on that offensive line, and hopefully, maybe at some point in my lifetime, we get a 100-yard rusher during the game. And that's the focus. It's going to take a lot of pressure off Matt Stafford to get that offensive line built up and that running game going. And I think it's going to be confusing because now they got Ragnow on the line and Glasgow. So getting the two guys, not getting them mixed up is going to be pretty tough. But the focus is on the offensive line. I think that was the right pick.
Rick-riggin, our executive producer and diehard Detroit Lions fan, and that's completely okay. It's certainly man in our war room. How's things going on in the war room today, sir?
Pretty good. They had a lot of retweets and some interaction for our racing segment. And, since I've been on, actually talking on the air for this segment, I haven't been on the social media too much because, I'm only one man, Tom. I'm only one man.
Dude, you told me that you were multiple men. You told me you were multiple men.
Definitely promoting out our segment with Ed Kratz and Mo when he was on, and getting the phone number out there for people it's their chance to talk with Ed Kratz. So, 917-889-8516 is that number. And follow Ed Kratz on Twitter. It's a great follow.
Absolutely. Everybody should follow Ed. And let's talk a little bit about the Green Bay Packers and what they've been able to do. Everybody's saying A. And let's say some of your thoughts.
Yeah, you kind of faded out there a little, Tom. I didn't quite hear you. I heard the Packers.
I said everybody's giving the Packers A. Everybody's giving the Packers an A, and also Aaron Rodgers is going to get paid this year. Go ahead.
Yes, he is. Yeah. But I first want to say, Tom, you sounded a little like Bob Irsay when Rick was talking about being the one-man band. You're like, dude, I thought you were going into your Bob Irsay impression there for a second. I haven't seen that clip that Rick or Mo talked about, the conversation with Quentin Nelson. I'm going to have to to Google that. I that sounds to me like